This is TJ with TechMadeEZ. Welcome to my channel. My channel is all about making things affordable, practical, and easy. What we're going to be talking about today is buying a domain and then pointing it to our own server. And in this case, it's an app server, or it might be your Docker server or whatever. A server that you have web applications on them that you may want to have access outside your own network. Take, for instance, like JellyFin. If you're using CasaOS, maybe you want to have access to your CasaOS web interface, so on and so forth, or you got some other Docker interface that you're using. Any web app that you're using on your server, you'll be able to have access outside your home by purchasing a domain. Now, I've already done one video on this using DuckDNS. The reason why I did DuckDNS is DuckDNS provides 5 free domains. But I also wanted to do one where you purchase your own domain and set it up that way. Now, one of the problems I've run into with DuckDNS, all of a sudden, I don't have access to DuckDNS anymore. I can't even look it up. I can't even go on the web and search it. And I don't know if my ISP provider is blocking it. I've called them. They say they don't block any websites at all. It's not my router. I've called my router, tech support on my router. There's nothing in my router that's set up. So I don't know why all of a sudden I'm pretty sure it's my ISP. They're blocking it. So, but that's okay, because eventually I did want to purchase my own domain name and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying you can't use DuckDNS, because I don't know why this has really happened, but I have a suspicion it is my ISP that's blocking it, because I can get access as long as I'm not in my house. And so it's either my router or the ISP. I know it's not my router, it's got to be the ISP. But that being said, we're going to be looking at NameCheap.com, where you can buy domains. You can also, there's other services that you can do there too. You can host your website, so on and so forth. Now, in this particular case, if you're using Cloudflare or anything like that, if you're a DNS, it's not going to cover that, but it's going to show you how to point your domain to your own web server, have access through it through Nginx. Now, I have another video where I teach people how to set up Nginx. I did that with DuckDNS, and so I'm going to have that link below as well, because we're not going to go through the setup of Nginx. We're just going to use Nginx as our reverse proxy to bring in our website, so we have access to our web apps on our server. And in this particular case, I have a Docker server, just running Docker apps. I'm using CasaOS as the interface, so let's get started. Alright, so here we are at my app server. My app server is just a Docker server, and I'm using CasaOS as the interface to Docker. But what we want to do here, the whole purpose of this is that we want to buy a domain, and then we want to be able to have access to that domain and assign it to, say, the interface to Casa, or if you're using a different interface to Docker, whatever web interface you're using, you can expose that to the web so that you can access your Docker interfaces or app interfaces. Or in this case, we have JellyFin. If we want to access JellyFin through the web, then this is the way we would do that. So where we're going to buy this domain is NameCheap.com, where you can buy domains, but it also has, you can host them there. There's other stuff that you can do at NameCheap.com. But right now we want to search for a URL. Now the URL that you search for is going to be personal to you. I'm just going to put in my first name here, and so we're going to do tgserve. So this is going to be, I want access to my server, so I'm just naming it tgserve. You can name it whatever you want. Maybe you have a family name, so on and so forth, but then you have to search to see if that's available. Now obviously we can see the .com is taken, but there are other options down here, and it'll have pricing. And a lot of the first time you buy a domain, a lot of times there's a promo on those domains, so you can get them as much as $1 on a. Now none of these. Now this is the thing about domains today, is your .com, your .org is an extension of your domain. So a lot of these extensions, there's a lot of extensions now. There used to be a handful, but now there's a whole bunch. So what we can do here is we can go into best mode, and you can go ahead and find, you can put in here, say $2. I only want to pay $2 for this website, no more than $2 for this domain. So now it's got a whole bunch of these criteria here, and you can select all of them. I'm going to go to the $2 or less, but you can select any of them. Like if you select on politics, then it's going to give you a whole bunch of extensions for politics. So whatever your domain would be, domain.law, domain.voting, so on and so forth. And in my particular case, I'm not going to be using that. I'm just going to use, and like I said, you can select all of them, but I'm going to just use this one, select all, and then I'm going to go ahead and generate, and then it's going to show me all of the extensions that I can use. Now I know that, and the pricing here. Now what will end up happening here, the price that you buy here is just a introduction price. Okay, so the yearly price after that might be between $14 and $30 depending on the domain you pick. Could be higher than that, but that's typical. Could even be less depending on the domain you pick as well. Now I do know that .site is available here for $1. And you notice how it says retail is $179. That's the non-promotional introduction price. This is the promo price, the 98 cents. If you click on this here, it's going to be $24 a year basically after that. But you can, when you add this to cart, so I'm not going to add this to cart yet because I'm not signed in. If I add this to cart and check out, then it'd make me sign up. So I'm going to sign up for this right now. Now I know that I can use that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and do sign up. And I'm just going to make whatever, I'm just going to call this TGServe. And I'll just put in my password. You fill this stuff out, and then once you fill this out, your login, then we'll go ahead and purchase that. Okay, so I've created my account, and so now I just need to go ahead and put in that domain that I wanted to put in. And I know that .site is available, so I'm just going to put that in now. And we'll search that. So I'm going to add this to cart. So I'm going to check out. Now, one of the things about when you go to checkout here, one thing that you can do is, this is for the first year. It's only $1 for the first year. You can go ahead and do 2 years, and then it would be $9.34. Because after that, this particular one gets, I think it's around $23, $24 a year. So that would give you 2 years. But you could choose a different domain that's a little less expensive, but you just have to do some searching. But anyway, that's all you have to do. This is just a temporary one for me, so I'm just doing the 1 year. I don't want to pay a lot. This is just to show you how to use the system. And so now what I'm going to do is it's going to ask you, are you registering this on behalf of a company? No, this is me personally. And you're going to have to put in your address information, your phone number, so on and so forth. I'm going to put that in real quick, and then we'll go ahead and come back to this. All right, so now once you put in your address information, then it's going to ask you to pay for that. Put in your credit card information. After you pay for that, then it's going to come up with this. And I'm just going to close this. Okay, so once you put in your personal information, your address, so on and so forth, then it's going to ask you to put in your credit card information. Once you do that, then once you're done purchasing that, whatever screen comes up after that, just go up here to your username and go ahead and click dashboard. And so that'll take you here. They do want you to verify your email address, so you click on that. Oh, you just hit verify your contact. Then you go into your email, and you can hit, you can go into your email, click a link, and it will verify your email. All right, so once you've verified your contact information in your email, it might take a minute for that to update, and so eventually verified contacts will go away once that's updated. For whatever reason, it takes a minute for it to go through. So you just want to hit manage, and this alert will go through. It's just alerting you to check your email. I don't know why it takes a little bit to do that. But as far as what we're doing here is, we just want to be able to have access to any web apps that we have on our server. And so as far as name servers go, we're going to just leave the default here unless you have your own name servers. But in this case, I'm assuming this is the first time you purchased a URL or a domain name, and so and so for what we're doing, or we just want to access our own web apps on our own server, then this is all we need to do here. But and there are other options down here that you don't have to worry about unless you're going beyond the scope of this presentation. But you want to go to Advanced DNS. Now, when you go to Advanced DNS, it's going to show these. It's going to show these in here.
these are going to disappear as soon as you try to add a record. So when we hit add a record, we're going to have these options here. Now in this particular one, we're going to choose the first one. But then there's A+ dynamic DNS record. What that does is that will go ahead and it'll look at your IP, and it will determine whether if your personal IP address that you're supplied by your internet service has changed, and it will change it automatically. In this case, we're not setting that up. That's another video that I have coming up, and when we do that, then we're going to hit the A+ dynamic DNS record. But for right now, we're going to hit this one here. We're going to hit host here. In order for this A+ dynamic DNS to be working, you have to first set up the script on your server or the Docker app. And again, that's a video that's coming up. So then what we want to do here is we want to find our ISP, and like I said before, if you just type in my ISP, it'll give you several options, and so I've already done that. You copy your ISP here, and then you paste it in here. And again, this is your internet provider IP address that is assigned to your home. And so then you'll go ahead and check this. Now I'm going to add another record here. I'm going to add the www. We'll put that in here, and we'll check that. And now we can go ahead and have access to this domain. Okay, I do want to say something about this right now. The way we have this assigned here is if our personal IP address changes that our ISP gives us, then we're going to have to manually go in here and change these. But that's why you need to subscribe, because I am going to show you how to make it so that NameCheap automatically looks at your IP and changes it when it changes. So, but for right now, this works. Now, I will say this much about ISPs. Your personal IP that's going to your house, it stays that way for a long time. It doesn't change that often. Even if you have to reboot your modem and your router, a lot of times it doesn't change. It can change. So let's say you don't have it set up for dynamic, for it to look for a dynamic change in your IP address. Then let's say you go ahead and you have to reboot your IP modem. Then you may want to check and see if your IP has changed to the outside world. But for right now, this is just the easiest way to do this. And again, we will set it up so it's a dynamic DNS where it automatically updates automatically. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to Nginx Proxy Server. We're going to set that up. And again, I do have a video on how to install this and get it going in Docker and CasaOS. The link will be down below. So we're just going to go in here. We're going to hit add host, and we're going to go ahead and type that new domain name in here. And we went ahead and named that tgserve.site. And so we're going to add this. Now we're just going to keep the HTTP, and we're going to put in our server IP address. My server IP address is 192.168.1.197. Now the port for my CasaOS right here, CasaOS default is 80, but so is Nginx. So Nginx I kept it at 80, and then I changed CasaOS port to 89. So that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to do 89, and you can click these on. You don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and do that there. And now when we click on this, it will take us to our Casa interface. So what I want to do is I want to show you I can get to this from my phone, which is not connected to my personal network, but I'm going through my phone's ISP. Okay, I'm on my phone here, so now what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and search that on my phone. And now I can log into my CasaOS if I want to. So now I'm just going to log in to my CasaOS, and here it is on my phone, available for me to edit. So now I can log into CasaOS outside my home using my phone or a laptop, so on and so forth. So now let's go back. All right, so now you're going to notice we're logged into CasaOS through the domain name. But what you're going to notice, we have the slash here because this connection isn't secure. But we are going to go ahead and secure this. Now, one of the options of NameCheap is that you can purchase SSL certificates, but we're going to do it through Nginx because it's free. So what we want to do is we want to go to SL certificates. Now again, how you set up Nginx Proxy Manager, I'll have that link below, but once you're in Proxy Manager, just go to SSL certificates, add a SSL certificate, let's encrypt, and you're going to go ahead and put your domain name in here. So we did tgserve.site. We're going to add this, and you don't have to use this DNS challenge. Just hit I agree. A lot of them will go in here depending on what service they're using and use this, but you don't need to on this in this case. You just hit save, and this might take a minute, and it may even pop up and ask you to save it again. But just hit cancel and refresh this, and it should. And there it is right here. So so there's my tgserve site. Even though it came back saying you still had to save it, it did save it. But that's one of the quirky things about Nginx sometimes. So now what we need to do is we need to go back to our host, though, our proxy host, and we need to assign that to that secure. We need to assign that SSL that we just created for this website. So we're going to go back in here. We're going to say edit, and we're going to go to SSL, and we're going to look up the one that we just created, which is our tgserve. So I should be able to just type in the name of that, and it should come up, but it isn't. So we're just going to go ahead and scroll down, and there it is right there. And then we're going to go ahead and force these, save. Now we should be able to go to our proxy host. We should be able to click on this, and there we are. And now we are secure, connection secure. So that's all you need to do to get that going. Now what I said is we also, if we want to do this with JellyFin, so how do we use the same domain name and access JellyFin? So let's go back here, and let's go back to manage, and we're going to go to advanced DNS. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to add a record, another record, and we're going to put in JF for JellyFin, and we're going to use the same IP address that we've been using. By the way, anytime you click on this, it's going to think that you changed it. It's going to want you to save it. Whether you have to save it or not, you probably don't, but I'm just doing it anyway. So you just click your check, save it. So now what our domain is going to be, anytime we type something in here, this becomes a subdomain. So now this is going to be jf.tgserve.site for our JellyFin. So let's go back to CasaOS. I'm going to close these extra ones down. Let's go back to Casa, or let's go. So here's our JellyFin, and our JellyFin. Here's our port, and so we're going to go to Nginx here, and we're going to add another proxy host, and this one's going to be jf.tgserve.site. So we're going to add that. Again, we're going to put in the IP address of our server, where our apps are at, 197, and I believe that was 8097 is our port for JellyFin. And again, you don't have to put these here, but I'm just going to. So now we go ahead and save that, and now we should be able to access our JellyFin. And of course I spelt that wrong, so I'm just going to edit this, and this is actually it's JellyFin.tgserve.site. So we're going to add this, hit save, and now we should be able to open it. And here's our JellyFin. Okay, let's log into JellyFin, and there we go. Now I have access to my JellyFin outside my home, but it is still it's not secure. So we'll go ahead and go back into SSL certificates. We'll add another certificate. Now you could possibly use the same one that we created, but we'll just go ahead and do it this way. Serve site. All right, so we're just going to add this in here, our jellyfin.tgserve.site, and just hit agree, save. Now in this particular case, it went ahead and saved it without any issue. I didn't have to close it, refresh it. It's there. So now let's go back to the host, proxy server host, and then we're going to assign our SSL certificate to our website, to our proxy host. So then we'll just go to SSL, and again, I should be able to start typing it in to find that certificate, but it's not letting me, so we're just going to scroll down and find it. It's in alphabetical order, so there we go. Force, save. And now when we launch this, it will show that it's secure. And there we go, we have a secure connection to our site. So that's all there is. There's quite a few steps here. I know that, and I hope it wasn't too confusing. But that's how you would go ahead and create your own domain, attach it to any web app that's on your personal server. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. This is how you can go ahead and go into Namecheap, get a domain, create a subdomain, and have access to any of your web apps that might be on your server, like JellyFin, or any interface that you have that's a web app interface. And it's all free. And if you're using Nginx, the SSL is free. So I hope that was helpful. This is TJ with TechMadeEZ. Have a great day. Thanks.
Now that was easy peasy.